this decades without any. Ah! Holly's trying to kill me, guys. SOS. It looks good.
It's a Homesteader's lipstick right there.
Homesteader's lipstick. I love it. Bud, the way that this situation works is I'm here to eat you. You're not here to eat me. Okay? That's our relationship, all right? Hey there, folks. I'm Sean the Modern Yeoman, and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of the Modern Yeoman. This time we are... Hey there, folks. I'm Sean the Modern Yeoman, and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of the Modern Yeoman. It's June now, and I realized I haven't given you guys your monthly Homestead update and walk-around tour, so figured now's as good a time as any to do that. Black raspberries. As with all Homestead update and walk-around tours, here's how this works. You grab your favorite hot beverage, your sturdiest pair of walking boots, and you join me as we take a walk around the Homestead. Let's go. You might be wondering what exactly I was doing with Frankies Shelter in the intro to this video, and the answer is I shut their access to the barn stall where they've been camping out at night. No, buddy, he's getting very excited that I'm here. I shut access to the barn stall so they can't get in there anymore. We actually got our fence line in. It's 300 feet, 100 yards of fence line, so I can actually start moving them down to the woods. First step in that process is shutting away access to the barn so they realize they can't go in there anymore. Also, second step here is making them realize, hey, this thing you've been playing around with and manhandling and trying to eat, that's actually where you're going to live. That's your shelter. So I moved this where their entrance to the barn stall is, so they start to associate this with their home. I put a bunch of hay in there, obviously. And so for the next night or two, I'm going to have this situation set up like this. Then I'm going to shut these I'm going to move the fence line here, and I'm actually going to wrap it around these bars right here and shut off right here. Move the shelter forward where their current wallow is. Maybe move it a little bit more forward. As I'm talking, Beans is literally trying to eat me right now. Bud, the way that this situation works is I'm here to eat you. You're not here to eat me. Okay, that's our relationship, all right? He doesn't like it. Or he's just being playful. Anyways, we're going to shut off access to the back half of the lean-to. We're going to close the fence. We're going to bring the fence down further, and we'll start the process of migrating the pigs officially into the woods. Now that we've got that line in, we can start doing that. So tonight is their first night without access to the barn, which is fine. I typically, on warm nights, I'll see them sleeping out here regardless. It's official now. They are moving out into the woods, and I'm glad. I think it'll be good, buddy. Don't you? Don't you? It'll be a lot more fun down there. You'll have a lot more to eat. Also, while I'm in this area, how could I forget talking about our lovely raspberry trellises and how they've really kicked into gear. You can see all these canes that we tied up last year popping. They're jumping with fruit. We weren't sure if the trellis method was good for raspberry canes, but it turns out it is. Look at, there's so many. They're all over, and they're so good. We've got mulberries growing back there, which I talked about last week, and now tons of these black raspberries, and they're delicious, man. So we're going to start harvesting these on the regular. I think Holly has some pretty good ideas for what she wants to do beyond just jams and jellies and things like that. Oh, there's a good bunch right there. But all the work that we went through getting these canes trellised up last year was worth it, because they are kicking out quite well, and we're reaping the bounty. We're not going to be able to do anything with all of these because I'm going to eat them all. They're just amazing. I'm very happy that we decided to do this and hang these canes up, string these canes up, because they are kicking butt for us. Last year, you might remember, the whole area was in disarray, and these were just scattered and tangled up on the ground, and it was really hard to access all the berries. Now all the berries are very easily reached by us. They're all an easy reach. So there's going to be a lot more of these berries to come, boy, and we're going to gobble them all up and do some cool things with them, I think. Speaking of food grown on the homestead, let's talk about the garden itself. It's fair to say that it's bumping. Look at the potato bed. My goodness. We focused on sweet potatoes this year. As you can see, there's a couple of volunteer regular potatoes, but the sweet potatoes have exploded. They've taken over. We're looking forward to harvesting those probably sometime after little Henry comes into the world. Peppers, we've regularly been getting the shishito peppers. The tomatoes are jumping. We haven't really collected much in the way of tomatoes, but they're jumping. They're climbing these trellises that we set up. We're very proud of them for doing this. I think we may need to cut some of them back, trim them a little bit, but they're doing what we wanted them to. Zucchini, squash, we're getting those in too, a lot of them. And here's something, I'm almost afraid to say it because I think it might jinx. No, you know what? I'm going to say it. I don't think it will jinx us. We haven't seen squash bugs yet. I think they started about this time last year. I'm trying to remember when we started getting our squash bug infestation last summer. And I want to say it was like mid-June. So far, we haven't seen them. We've actually collected a lot of zucchini, a lot of squash. Holly's been plucking them every day. Otherwise, I'd look in here and show you. Let's see if there's some over here. Might be. You can see some popping up here. There's a couple over there. There's a couple buds here starting to go. Fact is, they're coming in. They're coming in hot. And so far, no squash bugs. Squash bugs, for those of you who watch the channel, know that the squash bugs just decimated any vine plant that we had last year. All of our zucchini decimated. All of our squash decimated. Our pumpkins that we grew, those were decimated. Our cantaloupe, anything that had a vine was gone. Was wiped out by those squash bugs. And so far, I don't know if it's a seasonal thing, or maybe it has to do with the fact that I got these chickens running through these beds in the winter. These chickens actually picked through these boxes something good. They scratched, they ate a lot of grubs, they ate a lot of little bugs. I don't know. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks, but I wonder if the chickens, if our fine feathered friends here, actually took care of our squash bug problem. I don't know, fingers crossed, but so far, all of our vine plants are popping, and they're popping well. They're doing really good. The bounty's coming in big. And like I was saying to you guys earlier, the mulberries are coming in big. A lot of folks commented the mulberries were good to use as like a juice or a wine or like a syrup for ice cream or yogurt, things like that. Holly actually had a very interesting idea, and she turned the mulberries into popsicles. Is that right, Holly?
I did. I'm eating a mulberry popsicle right now. I'll probably have purple lips.
You do. That's fine. It looks good.
It's a Homesteader's lipstick right there.
Homesteader's lipstick. I love it.
I got creative. I decided to make popsicles out of the mulberries, so I just pulled the bulk of the stems off. I threw them in the blender with some peaches that we had. They would have been really good if I had just left them at blended mulberries and peaches, but I decided to throw some avocado in because I thought it would make them creamier, add some healthy fat. The avocado wasn't entirely ripe, and so now they kind of taste like mulberries and unripe avocados, but I'm eating them anyway, and they are keeping this pregnant woman in the Tennessee summer somewhat cool. But they're really good, so mulberries in your popsicles, that's my tip.
So if you were to make them again, you would just do it without the avocados?
Yeah, and if I ever put avocado in it, I'd make sure it was fully ripe, because if it's fully ripe, you usually can't taste it. I did mulberries and peaches. You can do mulberries and whatever, and I know people might ask for a recipe. I don't do recipes. I just blended enough fruit mix until I had enough to fill all of the popsicle container things. So just blend the fruit really well, put them in the popsicle molds, and pop them in the freezer.
So I just said, do you want to help film me in the ditch? And Holly cracked up laughing, and she said, I wouldn't mind filming you in a ditch. The implication being of me being dead. That's... I'm scared now, guys. As you guys know, we've been having some septic issues out there. Turns out the issue was the drain field. So I started my digging last week. I got down to this spot right here, which is the...
He fell in the ditch.
Are you happy now? I got to this spot right here, which is the lid that covers up the outflow baffle in the septic tank. Turns out there's supposed to be a pipe. In this case, because of the age of the septic system, this pipe was going to be cement going out to the drain field. That pipe was gone. There was like a tiny little piece of the pipe. It was all rotted away. So all the outflow in the septic was just outflowing into underneath the bricks here, underneath the patio, and feeding the roots that you can see we broke up here. The roots were just lapping it up. We got it replaced. I'll show you the footage of the guy that came out and did the replacing. He did a great job. He was done in one day. We have a functioning septic system now. We're really excited. So now comes the fun part. We get to cover this up. We need to put all the dirt back in here, put some gravel in here, cover the bricks back up. It's going to keep us busy. We'll have a lot of work to do. And then cover up the field out there with grass seed, and I may actually get the chickens out there to help turn that earth. I haven't decided yet. But a big headache, a big problem that was solved in a relatively short amount of time. We do have a functioning septic system that hopefully should last us decades without any... Holly's trying to kill me, guys. SOS. Please send help. I'm just kidding. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. It's worth all of the work. The garden, the chickens, the turkeys, the pigs, the barrier, the build for Nana Jana, which stay tuned for that. We're going to have some updates coming up, some exciting updates on Nana Jana's barn-dough build that we're going to be getting the ball rolling here. We've already got the ball rolling. That's all I'll say about that for now, but exciting developments in the works. Back in the cove there, where Nana Jana's thinking of building, probably going to build. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Anyways, the point I was trying to make is this is all a lot of work, especially when you're working full-time like I am now. But worth it, worth all of it. I'm so glad that we made the move out here. I'm so glad that we were blessed to be able to find this land. And I'm very, very happy that we're going to be able to share it with our family. My parents, Nana Jana, Holly and I, and soon to be little Henry joining Holly and I. We're all going to live and share these 10, 11 acres together. Growing our own food, raising our own food, and sharing it. A multi-family compound. It's all worth it. It's especially nowadays when it's easy to run out of food in the groceries. You can walk into the grocery store and see that food's gone or super expensive. Us getting to that goal of growing most of our own food, it's going to take a while, but we're on our way, and this is all worth it. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Anyways, it's a long-winded way of saying thank you for joining me on the June Homestead update and walk around here from the Homestead. Like hanging out with you guys. I enjoy your company. I enjoy it when you get to see us grow through the ups and downs, the good times and the bad. A lot of hard work, worth all of it. I'm glad to have you guys along for the ride. Thanks for hanging out with us on today's edition. And until we see you guys again next time, remember, as always, slowly, slowly.